Hello and welcome to Lesson 6 of your Introduction to the History GCSE course. Today we're going to be looking at the Norman England unit. So please start today's lesson, as we have done for the last few lessons, by completing the quiz on the Google form. Please press pause while you complete the quiz. So today we're going to look at the final unit in the GCSE course, Norman England from 1066 to 1100. Now this is our British depth study and allows us to look closely at what happened in England over a short period of time. So we start off with William of Normandy claiming that he is the rightful heir to the King of England. So when Edward the Confessor dies in January 1066, we see conflict between William of Normandy and two other powerful men, Harold Godwinson and Harold Hardrada, who also claimed that they were the rightful heirs to the English crown. We then have three major battles in 1066. The Battle of Fulford Gate and the Battle of Stamford Bridge in September, and then the Battle of Hastings in October. Now, after these three major battles, the Duke William of Normandy is crowned King William I of England. Now, 1066 was the beginning rather than the end of the Norman conquest of England. William had to fight hard to protect his kingdom from English rebels and the Welsh and Danish armies that supported them. A combination of brutal suppression and changes to the church and the justice system gradually strengthened Norman control over England. Now, there are four key themes within this unit. Conquest. So William's successful invasion, which climaxed in the decisive victory over Harold's forces at Hastings in 1066, was a huge moment. Harold died along with almost all of the English nobility. William's stunning victory was the end of the beginning of the Norman conquest, with the south of England firmly under his control. However, he would have difficulty securing his kingdom against rebellious northern earls, Welsh princes and Danes that still believed they had a valid claim to the English crown. Our next theme is consolidation. William faced major challenges to his authority between 1068 and 1070. The most serious rebellions took place in the north of England, and for a few months it seemed as though the Normans would be forced out of England altogether. William's response, known as the Harrying of the North, was incredibly brutal, even by the standards of medieval Europe. After his successful defeat of rebellious English earls, the process of Normanisation was implemented throughout England. French became the language of government, and almost all the major landowners were Normans by 1075. The change in land ownerships from 1066 to 1086 was recorded in the Domesday Book, which was the most extensive public survey in Europe at the time. Our next theme is construction. The Normans' greatest achievements were architectural. They were master builders and introduced the Romanesque style to England. We see the building of hundreds of castles, abbeys, and cathedrals that are built during the reign of William and then his son, William Rufus. Now, these imposing structures served different purposes, but they all reminded the population that the Normans were now a permanent presence in England. The Normans also used these castles and churches to impose their feudal system onto the people. And our final major theme in this unit is people. So major events in medieval Europe, such as battles and treaties, were the consequence of the actions of a very few individuals. Most of the sources we have about Norman England focus on the actions of a small number of people. So a good example of this is the Bayeux Tapestry, which is an embroidered cloth, which includes almost all of the key figures of the conquest. So Edward the Confessor, Harold Godwinson, William the Conqueror, Bishop Odo, and Archbishop Stigand. So watch the YouTube video to give you an overview of what happened in this period. You can also watch this on BBC Bitesize. So on your Google Doc, you will find a timeline. For each event on your timeline, you need to decide which of the three categories it fits into. Coronation, so is a king being crowned? revolt, or battle. An example of each one has been done for you. Once you have done this, take a look at all of the events you have labelled as revolt. Why do you think people were rebelling at this time? Think about what else is happening in the timeline and why might they have a problem with it. Make sure that you are explaining your ideas in full sentences. For task 2, we're looking for about a paragraph. So please press pause while you complete your task on the Google Doc. Now, carrying on the same Google Doc, you have some information on the two sides, the Saxons and the Normans, as they prepare for the Battle of Hastings. You will need to use this information to help you answer the 3 questions. Your first question is to describe how King Harold and the Saxons prepared for the Battle of Hastings. So you can use this column here to help you with this. Think about the army, weaponry, tactics, positions, and leaders. For your second question, you're describing how Duke William and the Normans prepared for the Battle of Hastings. Again, think about army, weaponry, tactics, position, and leaders. You can use the final column on your table to help with this. And for question 3, who do you think had the biggest advantage before the battle? This is an opinion question, so there is no right answer. You're picking between King Harold or Duke William. And you need to then make sure that you are giving some evidence to back up your opinion and that you are completing this in full sentences. So I'd like you to complete this task on the Google Doc, making sure that you press pause while you complete the task. And your final task for this lesson is to do with the interpretation on the Google Doc. So you're going to be doing this on the Google Doc called Lesson 6 GCSE Exam. You need to read through the interpretation by historian Peter X from 2011 and answer the 3 questions. So make sure you give evidence and explanation to help back up your answer. So question 1, you're looking at what does the interpretation suggest about the Anglo-Saxon army and the Norman army? Question 2, what conclusion does the writer come to about the 2 sides? What does Peter think about both of these armies? And for question 3, does the conclusion fit with your own knowledge about the 2 armies before the Battle of Hastings? Explain your answer. So make sure you refer back to the table from the previous task and make sure you use the interpretation to help you answer the question. So think about what does Peter say about Harold's army and how does this fit in with the information on the table? And what does Peter say about William's army and how does this fit in with the table? Now, please remember to submit all your work when you have completed it through Google Classroom. Well done for your work over the last few lessons, and hopefully we will see you all very soon.